The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Hello, YouTube. Hope everybody's doing great. Put together something here, and you see where it says between good and evil. And we've been fighting that for a very long time. Y'all just don't know it. And I hope this helps to explain to y'all where we're at and where we're headed and what we need to correct. That's about an executive order, the very first one. And we need to correct it. And this is explaining to you about the executive order and me narrating a little bit and adding a few little words. But if y'all pay attention to it, and if you want to hear the entirety thing, I'll give you a link to that too. But there'll be links in the bottom so you can go look at the stuff, the documents to prove everything that's been said. And you can copy this stuff and send it to your friends. I hope you do. The more people that know about this, the better off we're going to be. We need to be free. And I've said many, many times that we're not free. We're slaves to corporations. And I really mean that. And once you listen to this, you'll understand exactly what I'm trying to tell you. So much love.
In today's program, I will put the spotlight on an act that was enacted in the year of 1871 on February 21st. The Congress passes an act to provide a government for the District of Columbia, also known as the Act of 1871. What I am about to share with you today is a premise for all the things that are happening here today in the year 2012. When you fully understand the ramifications of the past, you will then fully understand the ramifications of the present, and you will know how to change the future. And here is where our story begins. With no constitutional authority to do so, Congress creates a separate form of government for the District of Columbia, a 10-mile square parcel of land. The act was passed when the country was weakened and financially depleted in the aftermath of the Civil War. It was at that time a strategic move by foreign interest international bankers who were intent upon gaining a stranglehold on the coffers and neck of America. Congress cut a deal with the international bankers, specifically the Rothschilds of London, to incur debt to said bankers.
Let's talk about that a minute, guys. Let's really just talk about it a minute. We all don't know what Alex Jones is. We don't know whether he's telling the truth or whether he's telling a lie. We don't know if he's a Fed or just a squealy. But you can't use that information like that. You got to listen to the information and gather what's good for you, what's good for what you know is right. The information that he puts out has got a lot of truth behind it, a lot of truth. Whether he's on our side or whether he's not, or he's just putting the information out to sting us later, it's not the point. But it's a good educational tool. It's teaching us, showing us the right road. Whether he's right, whether he's wrong, we're going to lose if we don't listen up. So listen to the rest of this, guys. Let's do some more information here.
Because the bankers were not about to lend money to a floundering nation without serious stipulations, they devised a way to get their foot in the door of the United States. The Act of 1871 formed a corporation called the United States, all in capital letters. The corporation, owned by foreign interests, moved in and shoved the original Constitution into a dustbin. With the Act of 1871, the organic Constitution was defaced and in effect vandalized and sabotaged. When the title was capitalized and the word for was changed to of in the title.
You hear what he's saying, right? You're listening to what he's saying, right? Are you paying attention? Folks, this is time to pay attention. Let's don't fix just this gun law and Sandy Hook stuff. Let's fix our whole country. Let's create our government the way it's supposed to be. Let's go back to the original Constitution. Not this thing that they've created for us that makes us a democracy instead of a republic. We're in a democracy right now that's turning into an anarchy. We are so close to anarchy in this country, it's pitiful. Y'all know that. You feel it in your own heart. Gun control, all this stuff that's happening. Listen to this guy. Listen to what he's telling you.
The Constitution of the United States of America is the Constitution of the Incorporated United States of America in all capital letters. It operates in an economic capacity and has been used to fool the people into thinking it governs the Republic. It does not. Capitalization is not insignificant when one is referring to a legal document. This seemingly minor alteration has had a major impact on every subsequent generation of Americans. What Congress did by passing the Act of 1871 was create an entirely new document, a constitution for the government of the District of Columbia, an incorporated government.
Okay, we're all born as a corporation. That's what he's trying to tell you. And not only that, it's your straw man. You've heard the term straw man before. A lot of you have. Maybe some of you haven't. That's your straw man, the one that you pay taxes to. That's your straw man. Listen to some more.
This newly altered Constitution was not intended to benefit the Republic. It benefits only the corporation of the United States of America and operates entirely outside the original organic Constitution. Instead of having absolute and unalienable rights guaranteed under the organic Constitution, we the people now have relative rights or privileges. One example is the sovereign's right to travel, which has now been transformed under corporate government policy into a privilege that requires citizens to be licensed. An example would be passports. By passing the Act of 1870,
passports, driver's license. Now they're even getting to where you got to have special, you got to be at checkpoints like Germany had all over the country before Hitler took over and started taking the freedoms away from their people. Remember? Think about all that, people. Even though that was a false flag too, and it wasn't a meant to be war, it was the Rothschilds running that show too. It's still the same thing. It's just this time we're becoming that same country as Germany. Think about that.
When Congress committed treason against the people who were sovereign under the grants and decrees of the Declaration of Independence and the Organic Constitution. The Act of 1871 became the foundation of all the treason since committed by government officials. The United States isn't a country, it's a corporation. In preparation for stealing America, the puppets of Britain's banking cabal had already created a second government, a shadow government designed to manage what the common herd believed was a democracy.
Okay, remember the bankers' bailout? When the bankers got all that bailout money and then they still got them big bonuses? Remember that? All they were doing was stealing the money. Stealing the money. They could have gave that money to us, to the people, and we would have done more for the economy than anything else that they could have done if they would have gave that money and spread it out equally between the people than what they done up there. All they done was put us further in debt and not be able to come out of the hole. Don't you understand that? Or you see that now?
But what was really was an incorporated United States. And conspiring together, this two-headed monster disallowed the common herd all of their sovereign rights under the original Constitution. To fully understand how our rights of sovereignty were ended, you must know the full meaning of the word sovereign, which means chief or highest supreme power, superior in position to all others, independent of and unlimited by others, possessing or entitled to original and independent authority or jurisdiction. This description I have cited can be found in Webster's dictionary. In short, our government, which was created by and for us as sovereigns, free citizens deemed to have the highest authority in the land, was stolen from us along with our rights.
Y'all remember George Carlin? Remember he said, it's a club and you're not in it? Well, that's just what he just said. You're not in it. You don't have sovereign rights like they do. You're a slave. You was born into slavery since 1871. Unless one of you out there lives before 1871, you're a slave to the corporation. No one else but the corporation. Listen to some more.
It is important to keep in mind here that according to the original Constitution, only we the people are sovereign. The government is not sovereign. Our original Declaration of Independence states, government is subject to the consent of the governed, and that's us.
Now you understand why I call us all slaves? That's exactly why we are slaves.
It doesn't take a constitutional historian to figure out that the United States government has not been subject to the consent of the governed since long before you and I were born. Rather, the governed are subject to the whim and greed of the corporation, which has stretched its tentacles beyond the 10-mile square parcel of land known as the District of Columbia. In fact, it has invaded every state of the Republic. Mind you, the corporation has no jurisdiction beyond the District of Columbia. You just think it does.
See how long we've been duped? Now they got their tentacles into every form of our business. That's just like the video I put up earlier about the sheriff in Kentucky saying that we have more power than federal and state and all the rest. They have to get out of our county because the sheriff has more power. And he's completely correct. And this is why.
You see, my friends, you are presumed to know the law, which is very weird since we the people are taught nothing about the law in school. We memorize obscure facts and phrases here and there, and our teachers only gloss over the Bill of Rights. And our schools, which are controlled by the corporate government, don't delve into the Constitution of Death. After all, the corporation was established to indoctrinate and dumb down the masses, not to teach anything of value or importance.
How many of y'all been to jail or been in front of a court and the judge will say the ignorance of the law is not my fault, it's yours? That's why you need an attorney, he'll tell you. You understand that point there? That's why. See, you got to know the law. They don't teach it to us in school. We need to start learning our constitutional rights and our amendments. Before we're out of the 5th grade, we should know them backwards and forward. That should be the main thing they teach us in history. Till we know it verbatim forever. So you don't never forget it. Like the Pledge of Allegiance, for instance, that we're not allowed to do anymore.
And certainly no one ever mentioned that America was sold out to foreign interests, and that we were beneficiaries of the debt incurred by Congress, or that we were in debt to the international bankers. Yet for generations, Americans have had the bulk of their earnings confiscated to pay a massive debt that they did not incur. There has been an endless stream of things the people were not told, and now that you are being told, how do you feel about being made the recipient of a debt without your knowledge or consent?
Well, I don't know about y'all, but it really pisses me off. And I've been knowing about this for a long time from a man named Bo Gritz. He tried to teach people this, but Ross Perot beat him out on running for president because he was so powerful with his money. Kicked him out of the Independent Party. So, I've been trying to wake people up to this for a very long time, but it's very hard to get people to listen to this. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's being blocked. I don't know that either. But I'm going to try it one more time. And I hope that y'all listen, because it's very important to your freedoms, and it's very important to you and your children and my children and grandchildren and yours too.
After passage of the Act of 1871, Congress set a series of subtle and overt deceptions into motion, deceptions in the form of decisions that were meant to sell us down the river. And over time, the Republic took it on the chin until it was knocked down and counted out by a TKO. With the surrender of the people's gold in 1933, the common herd was handed over to illegitimate law. And I'll bet you weren't taught that in school. And now the final snapshot. Our corporate form of governance is based on Roman civil law and admiralty or maritime law, which is also known as the divine right of kings and the law of the seas, another fact of American history not taught in our schools. And here's another wake-up call for you. Roman civil law was fully established in the 13 colonies before our nation began, and then became managed by private international law. In other words, the government created for the District of Columbia via the Act of 1871 operates solely on the private international law, not common law, which was the foundation of our constitutional republic. And it is this fact that has impacted all Americans in concrete ways. For instance, although private international law is technically only applicable within the District of Columbia and not in the other states of the Union, the arms of the Corporation of the United States are called departments. As an example, the Justice Department, the Treasury Department, and those departments affect everyone, no matter where and what state that you live. Guess what? Each department belongs to the corporation, to the all capital letter United States.
So people, I hope you're listening to what he's saying. We gotta stop that. The only way is this was the very first executive order. Since Obama's been in office, I'm pretty sure that he signed more executive order than any other president, including combined. I'm not sure about the combined part, but I know that he signed more than any other president. And he's trying to take our Second Amendment away from us now. He's already got the 4th, the 5th, and the 10th Amendment. All he needs is a second, and the first is going to fall away.
I now pose a question. How do you feel that you know that you are now being ruled by a corporation? A corporation that operates under Roman civil law outside the original Constitution? I challenge everyone listening to contact their congressman and see what they have to say about this. Congress is fully aware of this deception. What this great deception really means is that the members of Congress do not work for us, for you and me. They work for the corporation, for the all capital letter United States. Is it any wonder why we can't get Congress to do anything on our behalf or meet our demands or answer our questions? And here's the bottom line. Technically, legally, or any other way you want to look at this matter, the corporate government of the all capital of the United States has no jurisdiction or authority in any state of the Union, the Republic, beyond the District of Columbia.
Remember that, folks. Remember that. No jurisdiction. Do you understand? No jurisdiction. That means all you lawyers, all you judges need to uphold your constitutional oath that you've taken, and police officers, uphold your constitutional rights. And let's do something about these frauds that are trying to run this country and steal it out from under us.
Let that tidbit sink in, then ask yourself, could this deception have occurred without full knowledge and complicity of the Congress? Do you think it happened by accident? And if you do, you're deceiving yourself. There are no accidents and there are no coincidences. Face the facts and confront the truth.
I have a little bit I want to add to what he just said. And another reason why we never knew about it is because in 1871, we didn't have the technology that we have today. They couldn't send out a text to across the country. They didn't have that. They had horses and buggies. They didn't get the knowledge in other places for years. Might have been 5, 6 years or more. They got mad, but they forgot about it, just like we do. We got to quit forgetting. We got to start pushing it while it's hot.
Remember, you are presumed to know the law. They know you don't know the law, and, for that matter, your history. Why? Because no concerted effort was ever made to teach you, or otherwise, or inform you. As a sovereign, you are entitled to full disclosure of all facts. As a slave, you are entitled to nothing other than what the corporation decides to give you. Remember also that ignorance of the law is no excuse. It's your responsibility and obligation to learn the law and know how it applies to you.
Remember what I said? Remember what I said just a minute ago? I said that to you. See, the ignorance is yours because you don't know the law. You won't look this law up. It's on my page. All you got to do is go to the one that says, on my blog, that says copy this and share it with your friends, with everyone you know. And you need to. I'll put the link in the bottom of the below sections for you to copy it and give it to your friends. Copy and download this video and share it with your friends too.
No wonder the arrogant corporation counted on the fact that most people are too indifferent, unconcerned, distracted, or lazy to learn what they need to know to survive within the system. We have been conditioned to let the government do our thinking for us. Now's the time to turn that around if we intend to help save our republic and ourselves before it's too late.
Y'all don't want it to be too late, do you? Really? Do you really want it to be too late? We can't let it be too late, people. That's all they're doing. They're creating and creating more and more and more and more to fight over. Stop fighting. Let's go after this.
As an instrument of the international bankers, the all-capital letter United States owns you from birth to death. It also holds ownership of all of your assets, all of your property, and even your children. Think long and hard about all the bills, taxes, fines, and licenses you have paid or have purchased. Yes, they had you by the pockets. If you don't believe it, read the 14th Amendment. See how free you really are. Ignorance of the facts led to your silence. Silence is construed as consent. Consent to be beneficiaries of a debt you did not incur.
You heard that, right? Didn't y'all hear that? You're in debt. You were in debt the day you were born. Way in debt. You're so in debt you can't afford to pay it your whole lifetime now. Your children is in debt with their children before they're ever born. Just because they know that someone's going to have a child out of that. You're broke, people. You're in debt up to your ears and don't even know it. Your house don't belong to you. Your car don't belong to you. They can take it away from you at any moment. Any moment.
As a South people, we've been deceived for hundreds of years. We think we are free, but in truth, we are servants of the corporation. Congress committed treason against the people in 1871. Honest men could have corrected this fraud and treason. But apparently there weren't enough honest men to counteract the lust for money and power.
The power, the money, the greed, the rich pockets, so they can live their life and their kids' lives. And they don't have to worry about it until they go broke. One of their children doesn't live on the legacy. Or they have all girls and they marry outside of the family and that ain't what they wanted them to do. That's us, people. That's us. We're dying. We're dying out. Our freedoms are dying out. Our country is dying. They're smothering it slowly.
We have lost more freedom than we will ever know thanks to corporate infiltration of our so-called government. Do you think that any soldier who died in any of our wars would have fought if he or she had known the truth? Do you think that one person would have laid down his or her life for a corporation? How long will we remain silent? How long will we perpetrate the myth that we are free? When will we stand together as one sovereign people? When will we take back what was stolen from us? And in closing, I would like to ask the final question. If the people of America had known to what extent their trust was betrayed, How long would it have taken for a real revolution to occur?
All about 30 seconds. With the way things are going right now about guns, if they would have really known this, they would have been really, really upset. And yes, it would have took very damn long.
What we need now is a revolution in thought. We need to change our thinking. Then we can change our world. All children deserve their rightful legacy, the liberty our ancestors fought to preserve, the legacy of a sovereign and fully free people. If we do not learn from the past, we'll be doomed to repeat it. I'd like to thank everyone for watching the Act of 1871.
Well, good night, everybody. I hope y'all enjoyed that. And as he said, and I'm going to say too, appreciate you watching. If you made it to the end to hear this, much love to you and congratulations. You're on your first step to freedom by fighting alongside of the people that does know this. So much
If there's a
love to you.
blue pill and a red pill, and the blue pill is half the price of the red pill and works just as well, why not pay half price?